All right. Good evening. Coming to you live from Crescent Moon Studios here at Camp Miakonda. My name is Matt Reineck, and I am going to be pleased to walk you through our membership rally presentation this evening. So, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to listen into some of the latest and greatest information we've got. Again, take a look at those QR codes. We'll have this slide up one more time at the end of the presentation in case you missed anything. But you take a screenshot there or whatever. There's a lot of great information for you to take advantage of. All right, our theme this year, we are racing into scouting, and we want to talk through all of the new resources and materials that the Boy Scouts have to offer for you to take advantage of. And hopefully we'll find that working together, we'll have a very successful recruitment. Couple of quick reminders as we kick things off. Just remember, we are recording this webinar, so please conduct yourself in a scout-like manner. Make sure that you do all the following things, and that you don't have your camera on with a beverage in your hand, things along those lines, and we'll be just fine. We appreciate that. So tonight we're going to go towards a successful and sustainable enrollment. We're going to talk about some fun events, some school enrollment nights, and then the professional unit partnership and working together. That QR code there will take you to our enrollment page, which has a lot of the resources that we're going to be talking about this evening. So, why are we here? Well, scouting is a movement, right? It's not just an activity. It's not just something you do every once in a while. It is a mission. It's an organization that we all very much strongly believe in. Our vision statement is to prepare every eligible youth in America to become a responsible and participating citizen and leader who is guided by the Scout Oath and law. All of us on the call tonight know that. The challenge is, do the folks that we're trying to bring into the scouting program understand ultimately what we're doing, or do they just see us as, hey, we're going to go have some fun? Well, we hope that it's a little bit of both. But why do we do what we do? Because scouting is fun. It's exciting, and it gives young people an opportunity to get outside. Here's a question for you, though. Who should scouting be fun for? I would lobby that in addition to the scouts, the youth that we serve on a day-to-day basis, scouting should be fun for the adults that we're enrolling as well. And so we'll talk a little bit about how to have some fun on both sides of the table. So things that we already know. Why do kids join scouts? Hey, they're invited. They receive that flyer. The single biggest reason why kids join scouts is because they get a flyer at school and they're invited to join. The second is peer-to-peer recruitment. They get invited by a friend to come join. So those are the top two things that we want to take advantage of and lean right into, is making sure that every kid gets a flyer in their hand and that their friends ask them to join. What else do? They know that we do fun stuff. Other kids are already there. It's group activities, outdoors, campfires. The list can go on and on forever. Now, why do adults put their kids in scouting? They're looking for fun family activities. I think it's important to remind everybody and to think about the fact that this next generation of parents, they're looking for experiences. They're looking for opportunities for their kids to not just go do soccer, but they want the extra value, the added benefit, the family activity where everybody can participate. Scouting is perfect for that. You guys are doing that already. So we just need to make sure that they know what an exciting, fun family activity scouting is and how to do it. Other families are already doing it. It's safe. It gets them outside. Advancement is another reason why some folks will join, working towards that Eagle Scout rank. Hey, I was a scout. I want my kid to have that same experience. And don't forget the values and the leadership. But I think it comes back down to fun family experiences. And so then here's a question that I'm not sure we've asked. Why do parents and leaders stay in scouting? We all have seen those folks that have been here long past the time where their kids, have up and grown, they're in college, or they have families of their own, but they're still volunteering and supporting and participating in scouting. Why? Well, because it is quality time with their family, for sure. But more than likely, they have built a really fun friends group. And so they want to stick around with that group of friends and hang out and have a good time. They enjoy having a positive impact on the community. Building a network and making a difference. Those are things that we, the long-serving volunteers, have learned, but we need to do a better job of communicating that to the new families, the new parents that are coming in, because one thing that I continually hear in my role is, gosh, how do we get more adult leaders involved and engaged? Well, Are they seeing the value of it's not just another hour? This is a new friends group. This is a network. We are making a difference. Are they seeing the bigger picture of that? I'm sure you all do that and spend some time doing the educational component of that, but make sure that, especially new families, as they're considering joining, that you make sure you share that side of the impact that it can have, not only on their child's life, but on their life as well. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts of why we're really here. We want units to do a successful recruitment. How do we do it? There's no single answer, but we have many answers to hit the target. We do have a fall enrollment leaders guide prepared and available at that QR code, as well as our enrollment resource page. So again, if you take a second to scan that QR code, that'll give you a lot of great resources, materials that we'll reference here later on in the presentation. So we're going to go through the steps tonight of a successful enrollment. Excuse me. It's going to start with making sure that you have a calendar full of fun activities. You want to make sure that you're promoting your unit program. You want to make sure that you have a school and community presence. We want to have sign-up events, multiple events, several kinds if we can. We want to make sure that we have a parent orientation meeting, followed by recruiting the leaders and helpers, and then wrap it up with more fun and den activities. So, step one, building that calendar. Why is a strong calendar of fun events so important? Well, Voice of the Scout says the number one satisfaction driver of parents say we have great outdoor activities in our unit. That is the number one reason why folks are excited and say positive things about scouting, is because they do a lot of things in the out of doors. So don't undervalue just, hey, let's take a Saturday and go for a hike. Let's go down to the stream and stack rocks. Like, we don't have to have crazy multiple phase activities. It could just be, let's go down to the park and hang out and throw the Frisbee around. They just want to be outside. So don't undervalue just a simple activity as going outside. Be thinking about, your Pinewood Derbies, your boat races, your kites, your fishing, your camping, all these things, but build that program now so that you have the opportunity to promote it as you're bringing on new families into your scouting unit. I'm going to pause here for a second. Feel free to throw any questions that you have into the chat, and I'll be happy to address those as we go through the presentation. Again, don't forget the fun. Make sure that you're continuing those fun activities, things that are going to be varied but appealing to kids and their families, so that new families want to join and current families want to stay. Just make sure that you're doing those fun things. Here's a couple of things to look forward to. Cub Family Camp, September 23rd and 4th, potentially down in Wood District, September 30th, October 1st at Swan Creek Northwest. We have a Cub Scout Adventure Day, September 23rd, followed by a Halloween party, October 21st and 22nd. We've got Construction City for those 4th and 5th graders happening November 18th. We'll have District Pinewood Derbies to look forward to March of 2024. Parent and Pal May 3rd and 4th, 2024. And then our Cub Day camps, both here at Camp Miaconda and out at White Star Park in Gibsonburg with Eagle Bay, and then Arrow of Light camps that are taking place the last weekend in July, last week of July, first week of August there out at Pioneer Scout Reservation. Just a few of those activities to look forward to. So, the folks that are on my team, working with myself and Vicki and Ellen, we are all here to support you and make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful. So we want to support you with school talks. So we are in the process right now of reaching out to any number of principals and schools to make sure that we have the ability to get in for open houses and school talks to get flyers out and about. So if you already have that relationship started, let your DE know so that we can integrate and help you with that, or just let them know what you're doing. But ultimately, we want to be there to be supportive. We have had less and less access into schools lately to do scout talks classroom to classroom, but we are seeing a resurgence in having the ability to do lunchroom talks and or have an assembly at the beginning or the end of the day. We've got opportunities to get in front of those kids, and we know that that's the best way to get their attention, to get them to come to a joint scouting night there in a few days. So we'll continue to work on that. But in the meanwhile, we've got a new number of other methods that we can work towards, including enrollment flyers. We want to be able to put 2 sets of flyers out leading up to every single joint scouting night that you guys are working for, assuming that time allows. We want to be there as best we can for those in-person enrollment nights, either the professional or a district volunteer. We'd like to be there to support you if we can. We've already assembled the welcome packets that include the youth application, family support app, family talent survey, upcoming activities and events. So we have those set up in packets 20 so that when you have your joint scouting night, you have a packet for every single family as they roll in. We're ready to go and excited for you. So that's building the program, step one. Now that we have that program, that calendar set up and ready to go, we want to promote it. So here are some examples of resources that we have available to us through the BSA Brand Center. That QR code there will take you to the BSA Brand Center, where you can get graphics like Adventure On, Pinewood Derby. And if you'll notice over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see this kind of Excel spreadsheet looking thing. What this is, the national office has created fall recruitment social media posts. So the topic, the language, hashtags, a photo that you can grab right out of there, and a website. So all you have to do is just include your pack information where it says, where it's listed as red there. And you can schedule these out in about half an hour for the entirety of the year and have that done. But this is going to continue to do some promotion and keep your photos, your Facebook page, any of that stuff current, and continuing to post positive messages for families in your community. So those are just a couple of the examples of great resources that we have at our fingertips. There are other social media posts like that you have available to you as well, like, say, for instance, promoting your Pinewood Derby. So let's talk about some other methods that we might have to be able to promote and get the word out about scouting. So we have a generic flyer that's Race into Scouting that will have your joining information on the front. If you would like to put pack information, a pack calendar of activities on the back, we'll be happy to print that on the back for you, black and white. But if you have additional flyers that you're putting out into the community, add photos of your scouts. That goes a long way to show positivity and excitement locally in your community. Make sure that those QR codes are up and current, and utilize as many social media avenues as we have: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Photos and videos of what you do. I can't say enough, just those great candid shots of your kids, of your adult leaders having fun is a great way to get the word out and share that message. Be thinking about newsletters, websites, bulletin board of the school, the church, in your neighborhood. Any place where there's a publication, can you get into your church bulletin? Can you get onto the website of your school? How many different places can you get in front of that local school, that local youth population? Can you have a proclamation about your Cub Scout pack added to your morning announcements at an elementary school? Things along those lines. Our DE staff is working on some of those as well, but the more the merrier, as we can have an opportunity to get the word out as many different ways as we can. Yard signs is another great one. Posters, we've got all of that stuff available here at the Scout Shop for you to pick up, and we'll have them at September roundtables as well. Be thinking about peer-to-peer cards. We'll have a number of peer-to-peer cards that has some basic information, just a little, little small sheet of paper on cardstock that your scouts can hand and invite one of their friends to join Scouts. It's a great tool. Think about school delivery. Can we, if we can't get inside, could we be standing at the carpool lane? Could we get the word out through the library, through the PTA or the PTO? There's any number of different ways that we can work with that school to get the word out. Don't forget about the fact that you have potentially a group of parents that is already invested and excited about scouting because their kids are in it. Make sure that they're asking their friends to bring more scouts to join with them. Emails and text, blast and personal, and then letters and postcards. There's any number of different methods. What we recommend is 7 to 12 different touches, and that could be as simple as hanging up a poster in a couple of different locations to getting on a bulletin board, et cetera, et cetera. Just the more ways that we can take advantage of this, the better off we're going to be. So specifically, the flyer request, we have a number of different flyer options available to you. You can scan that QR code or go to the website, eerieshorescouncil.org/flyer flyer request, submit that information. Typically give us a couple weeks, but we can turn that around a little bit faster if you need to, especially early on in the season. But we'd like to have 2 weeks ahead of time to get those produced and out if you have that ability. We've talked about this peer-to-peer, parent-to-parent, and scout-to-scout. Invite friends to come. This was one of the QR codes that I had up at the beginning. Have a better Be a Scout pin. Use all the data and descriptor options to let people know how you guys scout. You can use up to 500 characters. Here's a helpful pro tip that a lot of folks don't know. You can actually, when you log into that system, you can go in there and set up fee emails, welcome emails, and tailor your program so that when a new scout joins or a new family joins, they get an email about, hey, here's the specific information about pack dues, or hey, here's specific information welcoming you to our pack, things that you want to know. This is when we meet, who's our cub master is, et cetera, et cetera. QR codes are incredibly helpful. Online registration also makes things simple. If you're not utilizing online registration to streamline that process, we highly recommend it. But understand if you're still comfortable with the paper applications, we'll still take those too. Okay, step 3, onto the school and community presence. We've talked about having that presence with the school and community, but it comes back to, let's start by talking about all the fun we're having. Here's an example of a unit calendar that we have that is just an example. So that August might be back to the unit with a night at the Mud Hens, or going to Eagle Bay Day Camp early in the season. September, go hiking. And I'm not going to read off that entire calendar to you, but having just a quick vision of all the things that kids have to look forward to is a really great way to kind of build that relationship with that school and that community and say, hey, here's the great stuff that we're doing. Oh, by the way, do you see the community service projects that we're doing in our neighborhoods? Do you see the work that we're doing at the school to clean up the playground? You know, these are things that we're all planning on doing to support you. And that's a great way to open the door, show them what everybody has to look forward to. If you're not already, make sure that you're on a first name basis, or you know the name and the face of your principal and the staff members that are at that school, the PTO, PTA parents. Those are all helpful folks to know. Open houses are taking place starting last week into this week and next week. So if you haven't already made plans to consider being at your open house for school, that's a great way to see a lot of parents and meet a lot of folks. And then ultimately that enrollment night. So what we have done so far is we have put a plan together, we have promoted our plan, and we have built a relationship with the school. All positive things, which is leading up to our enrollment events, getting those kids to sign on the dotted line, getting those parents to join. Yes, we said events. Now, don't freak out. If you have had the opportunity, you either have been or are going to an open house. That's a great way to introduce yourselves. But what we'd really encourage is that you have a joining event, whether that be a joint scouting night, a fishing derby, rocket into scouting, whatever you want to call it, a place where there's a call to action to join your Cub Scout pack, your Scouts BSA troop, et cetera, et cetera. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be work with us, your district executive. Once you've done your first recruitment, you've gotten popcorn or whatever kicked off, let's go back into the school and invite those kids back to another meeting. And that could just be a pack meeting. It doesn't have to be anything super special, but let's invite them. Okay, you missed our first joining night. There's still opportunity to come and hang out and see what's going on. Just come to a pack meeting and see what we're all about. We want to see every pack do 2 joining nights this fall. We don't have to do outside the box for the second one. We can just do a normal pack night, but let us support you in getting some flyers out to get more kids interested and attending that pack meeting. And that's exactly what this is talking about, this next slide. Invite families to take a test drive. Come check it out, see what we're doing. Make sure that you are welcoming them. Make sure that if you have intended to have a welcome night at a pack meeting, that you have 1 or 2 parents that are watching out for the new families and friends that they don't necessarily recognize and saying, hey, are you new to scouting? Welcome, come on in. Make sure that they have that welcoming and engagement. And then once they enjoy what they're doing, sign them up. So talking about specifically that joining night, here is a way that you could set it up. And the reason why we're encouraging that you have a table for each grade is so that the parents can start looking around the room at who they're potentially going to be working with. And what they have to look forward to, the other kids in that group. So, make sure that they're not sitting alone. If you only get one third grader that shows up for an example, make sure that you're consolidating that to some degree. But ultimately, if you've got full tables, one, that's great. And two, let's make sure that they are starting to mix and mingle with their other families and parents, because they're ultimately going to be the ones hopefully doing the work with that new Cub Scout den. The other way that you can kind of process things is, just a different example, kind of just a flow chart of what you might want to consider. So welcome, get them signed in, get them applications of that welcome packet, have them go sit down, or peruse the pack displays, whatever. Make sure that if they have questions, they can come get it at the information table. But when they're ready to sign on the dotted line, you've got your fee collection, and then finally turning in applications. Finally, before they leave, you want to invite them to that orientation meeting on whatever date that is, hopefully within a week or two of when you've signed them up. Now, there's one big thing missing in everything that I've talked about. And we are open to, if you feel strongly differently in your small community, but as a general statement, the research that we have seen, the feedback that we have heard, is at the joining night, when you are signing a young man or a young woman up to join Cub Scouts, resist the urge to ask for help during that joining night. And there is method to our madness, but stop asking that first night for parental help. Here's the rationale as to why. The parents have decided, you know what, we know that the fee is $105. We know that Cub Scouting is going to be good for our son or daughter, and we want to get them excited and engaged and signed up to join. They have made the decision to get into their car, drive the 5 to 15 minutes to wherever you're signing them up at, and they've come to listen. I can't tell you how many times I've watched a joint scouting night happen where you've had an adult leader who thinks, who wants to be helpful, truly does want to be helpful by explaining every single nut and bolt of how a Cub Scout pack operates and what everybody needs to know, to the point at which you talk people out of joining because A, there's just too much going on, or B, somebody stands up and says, hey, we don't have anybody to do any of this work. So in addition to paying $105 today to join Cub Scouts with your son or daughter, you're also going to have to sign up for a 10-hour-a-week commitment, right? We don't want to do that sales job. There's a better way to do that sales job once we have everybody engaged and signed up and involved. So ultimately, my challenge to this group is, don't ask for help that first night. Get the parents to sign on the dotted line to get their son or daughter signed up to join Cub Scouts. As it moves forward, we need to take those parents and turn them into helpers, and helpers and turn them into leaders. Of course, you're going to need somebody to be a den leader. But as you kick off that parent orientation meeting, hey, our culture is every parent helps, flat out. They don't know that that's not how it's historically been, if it hasn't, but hopefully it is. Every parent's going to have an opportunity to help with something, and that makes that life a lot easier for us all. So once we have signed everybody up, got them to the meeting, and sent them home, hopefully within an hour max. Our target time for a joining night should be 30 to 45 minutes from start to finish. It can go to an hour if you've got a lot of folks that you've got to process through. But ultimately, we're trying to get them through as quickly as possible and then re-invite the parents back to the parent orientation meeting. We would encourage you to invite them via email and phone call, and then set the room up with one den per table with table tents. We have a resource where you have table tents available to you, where you can download those off our website, print them off if that's a resource that's helpful on our enrollment page. In addition to that, there is also a parent orientation PowerPoint feel free to update that. It's a template, but you can make it your own. Great thing about that is you make it once and then you can pass it on down the line to other parents as they take over that Cub Master, committee chair role, whatever. But ultimately, all that information is again on our enrollment page. You don't need to show this. It can be used as a script, but it does hit the highlights of what you want to drive home with that parent orientation meeting. So what does that look like? Again, we have sample agendas. We've got tons of information on our website, but we've got their kids signed up. We have put together a calendar of activities that shows thoughtfulness and planning. We break down the responsibilities so that everybody can take a small piece of that and utilize the tools and resources that are available to you. If you need help, if you feel uncomfortable recruiting a new den leader, talk to your district executive. They will be happy to go along with you to make that ask and to try and get an extra adult or two to help support you. So ask your professional if you'd like help with that first ask. Talk to other units in your district or around the council that may seem like they're putting on a good program. See how they've done it before. Make sure that you're reviewing the resources before you're making an ask. And then here's the other key. If they say, hey, Jim, we want you to be a den leader. You know what? I really appreciate the offer and the ask to be a den leader, but I just don't have the time. Okay, what I'm hearing is that you don't have time to be a den leader. Would you consider being an assistant den leader? No. Okay, cool. Would you consider chairing our Pinewood Derby, one specific event in March? Oh, March isn't good for me. Okay, what time is good for you? Well, May is typically a good time of year for me. Okay, great. So would you be willing and interested in hosting our end of the year banquet celebration? Sure. That's kind of that plan B, C, and D of it's okay if somebody says no, but if you've already set up the expectation that we have and every parent participates with the pack, they've set that expectation. They can say no to a number of things, but at some point they're going to find a way to say yes because they know that that's an expectation. Ultimately, though, once you've made the ask, we have a really good tendency of talking somebody else out of a job that we've asked them to do. So once you've made the ask, hey, Jim, we want you to be a den leader. Let them talk until they've said yes or no. So kind of keys and tricks to the parent orientation. This is another tool that we have adapted from a different council that has been met with a great deal of positivity and success. This is the 100-point pack adult participation form. So this spells it out. Hey, our expectation is that every parent in the pack or every family in the pack earns 100 points. You can earn 100 points by being a den leader, or you can earn 100 points by doing 10 pack function helper as helping a committee member run a Pinewood Derby, helping a committee member run an end of the year banquet. There are any number of ways that you can make up that 100 points, but this is a way that quantifies that in a digestible number so that somebody can understand how much time they're going to be participating. We've had several units that have talked about the fact that, hey, if you earn 100 points, we will cover your leader fees. So, the $65 or the whatever that is, or we'll send you to Wood Badge if you earn 100 points 2 years in a row or something along those lines. There's been a lot of positive feedback from this. And so I seriously encourage you to take that into consideration. So again, this is talking about the parent orientation after your enrollment events. We've already kind of breezed. Oops, I think I'm going the wrong direction there. Yep, sure am. All right, so we are going to go to step 6, recruiting those leaders and helpers. First of all, why is it so important to go out and recruit those new leaders? Well, Voice of the Scout says that it was asked, why is your child no longer in Cub Scouts? The number one answer was our den or unit had poor leadership. So we are going to be kicking off our den leader rallies in September. It's going to be the second Wednesday of the month, September through April. And we have heard that Voice of the Scout to say our den or our pack had poor leadership. We also know that roundtables here in the Erie Shores Council have not been incredibly well attended for a variety of reasons. But ultimately, we know that there is a desire for training, there is a desire for better information, and we know that parents and adult leaders want to do their best, but sometimes they don't know where the resources are, or how to find them, or how to do a certain something. So Den Leader Rallies is something that we are going to kick off in September, to try and alleviate some of that challenge. Den leaders aren't going to roundtables, so we're going to take a roundtable to them, and we're going to commit to sticking it to 60 minutes, in and out, with the information that you need to be successful for the next month as a Den leader. That is our vision and our hope. We're going to kick that off with 50 ways to lure a leader in September. And basically what we're hoping to do with that is give our Den leaders some strategies to be able to pull in the parents that are on the outskirts of that den, to help get them to participate and make the load lighter for the rest of the year for that den leader, so that they don't feel so stressed, and challenged by what they're being asked to do. So Den Leader Rallies, 50 ways to lure a leader. Lots of great resources that we're going to continue to be pushing out there. By the way, the Den Leader Rallies will be recorded just like this event is, and we'll get it posted on our website, so that in case you missed it, you can always go back and check it out later. Here is a great strategy that Vicki Rosengarten, our field director out of Swan Creek District, has used incredibly successfully over the years in 3 or 4 different councils that she's served in. So one person calls it a magic circle, the other person calls it a hand grenade. It works either way. Ultimately, the vision of this is, you have one table per grade level. So lions, tigers, wolves, bear, weeblos, arrow of light. And you get all of those parents around the table for a new den, and you say, all right, we need a scribe. We need somebody to take some notes, give somebody a leadership role. And we want everybody to get to know each other. And then, oh, by the way, here's a list of responsibilities that we've already established need to be done in each den. So we want you to figure out who's going to take responsibility for these. The magic circle, it works like magic because folks usually figure it out while you're gone. The hand grenade version of that is you drop all of this information in their lap, drop the hand grenade, walk away. Either way, it's a little bit of fun, but ultimately it has worked very successfully in getting the parents of that den to talk to one another, to figure out how they're going to provide this incredible opportunity for all of their kids together. Don't stand around the den. Don't be a resource for them. Wait until they've figured it all out themselves. That is the magic circle in a nutshell. Recruiting follow-up, right? So we've gotten that information. We want to make sure that if they haven't signed on the dotted line already, that we're following up. So as a person says yes, we want to make sure that we get that application, or ensure that that information or that application is filled out online. The online registration collects registration fees for 1 year. Easy to go. And if on paper, it's the same thing. We're still going to collect the fees for the entire year. If you get a maybe, make sure that we're collecting that information. We have a sign-up sheet that we're capturing everything digitally, so you can have a digital roster versus a poorly handwritten roster. We'll get that sent out to you within 48 hours of your joint scouting night, so that you have that information to communicate with your families. But make sure that you're promoting to those friends and family the next activities that are coming down the pike, the fun things that you have to look forward to. And again, just make sure that they know everything that they have to look forward to. Rely on your district executive, your professional to help support you. And we are trying right now. You may have already seen an email from your district executive saying like, hey, what's your program plan? What's your vision for your joint scouting night? What's your goal for the number of folks that you'd like to have join your pack this fall? We are all working on that with individual units. So if you haven't seen that email, I'd go back and look or check spam. Most of our DEs have already reached out and are again trying to engage with each individual pack and troop to make sure that you guys have everything you need to be successful this fall. Again, our QR codes that we have, we've got open houses this week, next week with TPS Washington Local. You can scan that QR code on the top left to see if your school's already covered or sign up to cover one. We've got a Hensville takeover this 20th of August, downtown Toledo. There's a family night game starting at 4:05. We're going to be at Hensville, the park outside of Fifth Third Field. from 2 to 4:05, inviting new families to join scouting, and we'd love to have a few extras or just have you stop by. Don't forget, you can request flyers and get those printed through our office. You can sign up for Den Leader rallies tonight. And I would encourage you, if you haven't looked at your Be a Scout pin in a while, make sure that you have ensured that that is up to date. We are so incredibly grateful for your time, your energy tonight. We encourage you to take a look at our website, erieshorescouncil.org/enrollment for the latest and greatest resources. Scan those QR codes. And at this point, we're wrapping up the presentation, but I would open up the floor to any questions out there that anybody might want to ask, or just best practices, thoughts that you have in a successful recruitment. So opening up the floor to you all. All righty. Hearing nothing, I have no doubt that we are going to have an incredibly successful Fall Joint Scouting Night recruitment and enrollment of approximately 1,200 new scouts. So again, thank you so much for your time, your dedication, everything you do for scouting and everything you do for the young people that we serve. Other than that, y'all have a great rest of your evening and stay safe and scout on. We'll see you around the campfire here sometime soon.
Hey, thanks, Matt. You're the man.